Hello once again, all you lovely people out there in the land of the internet. It's me, that gaming nerd John, and we are sadly in our final episode for 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. Just in time for the new re-release to come out on the Nintendo Switch. Hey, you know, good timing and all that jazz. So this episode is pretty much going to be the final battle, what we have been building up to, both plot-wise and just in general, over the course of this entire game, showcasing the struggles and the trials and tribulations of the 13 Sentinel pilots, and how they're going to try to overcome this burden that kind of fate and destiny has put upon them. In terms of kind of the general structure for this episode, I'm going to do my usual kind of commentary throughout the destruction sequences. The music that plays in the background of this final battle is just so awesome that there's going to be moments where I kind of step aside for a couple minutes just to kind of let that play through. Consider that like a nice time to take like a bathroom break or refill your coffee, like what I plan on doing, just to be able to kind of enjoy that. There's just going to be some commentary after the final cinematic plays as well, just because I kind of want that story beat, just like how we did the remembrance portions of the game, where I wouldn't really say much until kind of the end of the episode, or just a little bit of intro piece for the beginning of the episode as well, because I just don't want to take away from what they're showing in the story here, because it's phenomenal stuff, and the story really needs to kind of speak for itself in that regard. So I hope you're looking forward to it. For now, let's dive right on in. So it's kind of funny, when I went to go and do this, I was like, okay, I'm going to be like super serious and like totally not screw up. And I immediately screwed up because I forgot I didn't want to reset my consecutive battle streaks from my most recent kind of session that I had. So I started the final battle and went, wait a minute, I only have one pilot. So instead I went, oh, okay, well, let's just reload and kind of do one last little level up. So I chose to do fire control as kind of the last little tweak here for all my pilots. And this is really the first time I'm kind of showcasing this level up system. It's insane how far you can go. I've seen like stuff online of like triple digit bonuses for things. I really feel like you only need to do that for the area of the destruction sequences that you unlock after you beat it, if you're playing on like hard. Playing on casual, like what we'll be doing here today, or even on normal, honestly, like these stats that I have are more than sufficient. I recently actually went back and played through on hard again, just to make sure that I don't totally suck at this game. And I was able to beat the final battle stage, even with the kind of current power levels that I had for my team. So I don't feel like it's really like insanely difficult to kind of overcome that. I'm curious to see if they'll add another tier for the difficulty in the re-release. I'm kind of hopeful for that, just to kind of further test it out. But let's see how this goes with my selections.
We're up against the wall here. Would really love a clue about what's gonna happen. How much do you know about universal control? Well, it manages the world, right? Keeps things running smooth, keeps us thinking we're from our own eras. So why would it let some crazy disaster like this go unchecked? What? You're saying it's not working? Universal control is still operating. If it wasn't, we wouldn't be getting headlines of this happening around the world.
So, the system doesn't think this is unusual? That's right. Because it's checking it against the decode inside you. It convinces the system that's a normal process. That's when the Deimos appear. Universal control has no idea it's under attack.
The mainframe gets taken over before it can even register anything. It forces a manual system reset.
If it was aware of any of this, it'd never let this situation even happen.
It still hasn't picked up on the problem? This whole giant robot apocalypse thing is kinda hard to miss.
The Aegis severs the link. It can't detect any of this.
Cutting off its connection to its nerves. Like a doctor's anesthetic before the knife.
It's numb to the intrusion. And that's why we have to wake it up and show it the threat. We have to make the system understand this is not normal. It's a state of emergency. So how do we do that? I can broadcast the terminal link signal from the command ship I'm on. By routing the signal through here, I can reconnect the link severed by the Aegis. That should make Universal Control finally realize what's going on. So this was your big fallback plan? Yes. It's the only option we have left. And that'll fix all of this? We won't have to fight anymore? Not yet. You've still got 5 minutes and 44 seconds until the mainframe is ready. If the final terminal is taken over before then, when the world gets reset, you'll all vanish along with it. This is the moment of truth. The final battle. Please, protect us all.
Alright, so we kind of laid out the story beats, at least, how this is the final battle to kind of sever the interlocutor control from the rest of the Sentinel pilots and kind of wake up Universal Control to the threat of the Deimos, the kaiju. In terms of my team selection, so I really kind of did my usual approach where I'll take one Gen 1, either 1 Gen 3 or 1 Gen 2. This time I decided to go with 2 Gen 2s, just because I thought story-wise it made sense to take Kurabe and Fuyusaka. Just personally, I really like their characters. I feel like they were posited as the main protagonists, as it were. Also, because I had Kurabe, I decided to bring along Yakushiji. Manami is just a really, really good Gen 3. They all are really good, to be honest, but like Missile Rain, though, yeah, it's really solid. And I could not say no to bring in my best boy team here, so of course I have Hijiyama and Amaguchi along for the ride. They're just really solid choices. You have Shield Matrix, which... Ta-da! Shield Matrix. Again, probably not necessary on casual, but I felt like I was gonna just play it safe and really try my best to showcase some better uses of skills that I may have not highlighted as much the rest of the time, just because we are playing on that easier difficulty level. Obviously, having Hijiyama, just strong Gen 1 support, being able to kind of leap attack throughout the battlefield, as we'll see. Hey, look, Missile Rain. It's almost like it's a good ability or something. Yeah, so we're going to be doing a lot of Missile Rains throughout this particular fight, because it's just a great way to kind of cover an area and just fire and forget. Sentry guns from both Fuyusaka and Kurabe are going to help to litter the battlefield with laser support. Since they're armor piercing, that's also going to help for when the second tier of enemies start popping up. Oh wait, no, they're not armor piercing. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Well, they have big numbers, so it just helps. It chips away at them. Gravity Missile is something that I'll actually use in this fight, as we'll see later on. It's great to kind of group stuff up for missile rain, for just kind of lining up those linear shots from like the railgun for Minami. It's actually, it's a lot better than I gave it credit for earlier on. It doesn't do damage, but it's definitely a setup piece. On casual, again, it doesn't shine as much as others, and that's probably why I undervalued it, but I know, like, especially on my hard playthrough, God, it was such a godsend. Like, just being able to slow down some of the extraordinarily fast enemies and being able to kind of create, like, a corridor of death, as it were, just to make it so that my Gen 4s and Gen 3s worked in tandem to really control the battlefield really well. There's the leaps and bounds. Good old Hijama, keeping it under control. Really, the big thing about this particular fight is that everything is being thrown at you. You've got Twin Tails here. You can see there's a number of smaller units. There's just a number of waves of enemies, and they really are, it's the final exam for the game. If one were to look at all these destruction sequences as like puzzles, this is that last little puzzle saying, hey, have you really learned everything? The nice thing that I found was there are no EX models. I really was expecting that my first time through. So, like, they showcase all these new tiers of enemies in the last section, in the last area of the destruction sequences, and then they don't even bring them in for the final battle, which I thought was weird. I figured it was going to be, like, all these little dudes leading up to, like, mini-bosses, and they don't really do that, so in that kind of way it was a little underwhelming. But hey, look, it's music time, so let's listen to some tunes real quick. So yeah, it's a really interesting piece, and you'll see it kind of have more layers built on as we keep going. In terms of just kind of continuing forward to execute on this particular segment of the fight, they're really kind of just making sure that you're not over-committing, because there's a lot of times where you could just completely drain your EP for these battles. And that's not a good idea. At no point in time do I have to use my meta skills, but they're definitely available. I feel like when I played it on hard, there were a lot more times where I had to be like, ooh, I need to take a pause button real quick, boop, and then just like neutralize everything there. If I were super greedy, I could have actually the meta skill for like the bonus multiplier for enemies, I could have used that. But it's at this point not really necessary. Like, most people really shouldn't do that unless they plan on being a masochist like me and playing through the stage on every difficulty. Because the game gives you enough points. Like, this stage that my pilots are at is supremely overpowered. Because I know I've played through these stages numerous times. Just one for recording, and two because it's fun for me. I enjoy it. It's a fun little game. So yeah, taking out Apsos units because shield units suck. Kind of annoying. Probably one of the few genuinely annoying things in the game is the Apsos units being able to both heal and shield other units as well, especially the second tier of them. Yakushiji just kind of cleaning up here. Got her some multi-lock missiles on her loadout this time. That way she's actually able to contribute to combat. Seemed good. And now you can see, even though we cleared the field, like the game immediately put in new units to kind of overrun us, as it were. So we just got through a bunch of like smaller units. Now they're bringing in like the larger scale units. So you have your high quads, you have your terror carriers. But that's why all the sentry guns from earlier are now really doing some work. And yeah, Hijiyama just being able to cover the distance there. Maneuvering my team around a little bit just to get some better coverage. That terror carrier is already at half health, and it's existed for all of like 2 seconds in real time. You get the RPF over there. High quad's already down. I didn't even need to have Hijiyama like book it there. Like, he's fine where he was. More sentry guns because they've just proven their effectiveness. Yeah, that's nice. The railgun just being able to tear it apart. 17,000 damage. Just ridiculous. Yeah. And then just pump out some more interceptors. The interceptors are really meant to be just like chip damage and like a quick response for things. They're not going to like clear the field here by any stretch, but they're definitely going to take care of some stuff for us. And just kind of consolidating. Just because of the special ability that Minami has, I'll frequently have her do laps. Just take a lap around town, Minami, it's fine. That way you get your attack bonus when I do eventually use you someday. Because the rest of the team's just doing the hard work. It's fine. So we cleared out all those big guys, and now they're sending the tier 2 twin tails at us from just the entire side of the perimeter of the battle map. So more cannons, because why not? And then now in the southern quadrant you have the actual threat for this portion here, where you get some high quads, some Apsos units, a lot of ground units. So I just decided to kind of soften it up a little bit. You've got the bombs trying to explode. And so I guess I just decided to wimp a little here and just use the pulse lasers. There we go. So gravity missile is quite good here because it's moving those units trying to blow up out of the way. And then we've just got missile rain to help shear them down a little bit, chip away at their health, or just take out the ones that aren't armored. Hijiyama desperately trying to be useful here. So jumping in, pushing aside again. It's kind of an anti-synergy there because he pushed away some of them from being able to actually get sucked into the gravity, but that's fine. Multi-lock missile, always strong. Just a good option. Take out a couple of those guys. We got Karabe. Anti-ground, useful. A lot of the enemies in this particular portion of the wave are ground units, including that upgraded Apsos model that we just say good day to, because they suck. They're awful. Hate them. Not a fan. Now the only issue is now we've burned through too much of Fuyusaka's energy, so it's like, well, I was really hoping to put down some more sentry guns. So we'll just have her kind of retreat away from the minor threat that exists there. Hijiyama's still bouncing around. It's good. Good times, good times. Not sure. Yeah, I was going to say, I think missile rain might be a little much here, so we just go with like our long range missile.
How's that? The last adjustments are going smoothly. Just hold out a little longer.
So basically a quick check from the game being like, hey, you're doing good. You gotten through a whole lot of enemies. And I just continue cleaning up. kind of conserving energy because I notice now at this point that I'm like, oh, some of my units can't do anything. So just struggling to find something for Yakushiji to be able to even remotely connect with. So we just kind of maneuver with her. Hijiyama leaping around the battlefield still. Admittedly, also not many targets for him just yet because we got the waves coming in. Kurabe, Minami, more maneuvering. Yeah, this is really overkill. But to be fair, like Minami has 18,000 damage. Minami has plenty of energy, so it's not really a big threat for her. That is so close and really annoying. So Hamaguchi closing the distance again. Leap attack preparations. Doesn't seem like it's necessary. I'm pretty sure I thought that would allow me to get like an EMP charge off more than likely. Because that's always a good thing to have. Just being able to bring that to bear. Again, Minami just kind of maneuvering around the battlefield. Just walking around. Keeps her energy topped off. Means that she's not locked into the defense mode. Because while defending is real... Oh, speaking of defending, shield matrix. While defending is useful for like quickly recharging, well, quickly air quotes, recharging EP, and then the different bonuses that some of the units get from that. It's difficult because it does lock them out. Like it sets them into that defense mode, and you can't do anything else until they kind of cool off from it. So like there, I decide to with Fuyusaka because I'm like I desperately need to get more going there because it's just so. Yep, EMP attractor to knock out the armored Apsos and to just lock down the rest. It's just so essential for Fuyusaka to have more energy for sentry turrets, and just her general utility with those sentry guns is proving quite effective so far. So Fuyusaka is going to wait there while Yakushiji clears out some more little chumps, bringing Hamaguchi back to the forefront with all those dudes there. Yeah, I was just going to say, is it really necessary for the anti-ground? Yeah. Against the weenies, that's more than enough. Honestly, we probably could have used multi-rocket launcher at that point. So that cleared off a whole bunch. We got the jump going in. Pulse cannon, clear out some more weenies. And it's just saving energy for Yakushiji. Like you can see, Fuyusaka's already fully charged, but she's only like a third through her defense. So I probably should have just had her move instead. But, oh well. I think though, if memory serves, I think Fuyusaka does have a skill where when she defends, like everybody recovers EP? I think. Don't remember. More interceptors, chipping away at enemies. You can see poof, like magically, in that northern quadrant, tons of dudes just showed up. So they just came in, and now we're sending Hijiyama over there to take care of that problem. But now that Minami actually has some targets, she can help us out. So even though there's a ton of enemies surrounding Hijiyama, that missile rain's going to take care of a solid chunk of them. Yakushiji supporting over there. That's really egregious of me to exert that much effort on a single Apsos, but I understand my anger. So yeah, taking out that one Apsos, then we got another one in the northeast that leap attack probably, knocked out, so I just check on that. Twin Tail, why not? It could be dangerous if we just let it sit there, so we just get rid of it. Yakushiji, checking out the map real quick. We've almost cleared out everything. So now I just kind of send her forward. She'll be able to kind of intercept the bad guys. Then now that Minami's pretty much charged up and ready to go, she can chip away at enemies now. So you can see that that laser only did like nearly 8,000. It is unfortunate because if I had realized that Hijiyama was available so soon, I probably wouldn't have wasted it like that. I feel like that was pretty wasteful for Minami's turn. So, Shield Matrix again, because Amaguchi pretty high up still on EP, so it's not that bad. Like, sure, it utilizes his action for a little while, so that'll kind of lock him out when this next wave invariably teleports in. And we just tell Minami to take a block. Take a walk around the block, girl. And poof, now we're in the eastern quadrant. All the dudes. Leap attack. Yeah. It works so well, just being able to bring him into the fray. Missile Rain also going to help out a ton here, because there's a number of dudes that aren't the tier 2. And that's going to take care of them in short order. Gravity Missile, I feel like I missed... Oh no, I got the big guy. I was like, I feel like that misses the big guy there, but... No, that's actually pretty solid. It's a good choice. Yeah, Multi-Lock Missile, though, is going to be a better choice to take care of the stragglers that aren't in that kind of cone for the gravity to take effect on. Leap attack makes sense to close the distance, but honestly, yeah, he's got enough movement, so Demolisher Blade is going to be just fine here. 5,000 damage, more than sufficient to take out the big guy. And those multi-lock missiles are just going to clean up the rest, honestly.
We must win. What do I do?
Okay, another sentry gun. We do have another wave coming in, so that's something to keep an eye on. But we're pretty much just now shoring up. Yeah, Shield Matrix. Yeah, the one lone guy there is not going to be a threat. So we get a shield on Hijiyama and Kurabe, which is pretty solid. Yeah, and there we go. That cleans up that guy. So now it's just the wave coming in on the eastern side. We'll probably have Minami run around the building some more. Yep, just got some laps. So she immediately is set to go again. Do I really do leap attack here? Huh. There's a couple of Apsos units mixed in there. So I guess just kind of throwing them off their game. Pulse Laser, that'll help to kind of clear up some of those guys. Multi-Lock Missile would have been a little bit better, but I'm not going to complain. Sentry Gun, yeah, that's probably a good call. They're lined up nicely there. That'll be a solid hit. You can already see the other ones chipping away. Fuyusaka also bringing in some more sentry guns, because why not? Just to clear up the map a little bit. Yeah, those guys are already toast. Now we've got waves actually incoming, so that's something to be aware of. So we kind of pull Hijiyama back, hoping to use that EMP Attractor skill, probably, if I had to place bets. Interesting. Shielding. Shielding also does work on not just your Sentinels, but also like the Interceptors, the sentry guns. Like it works on any of your friendly units. Something to keep in mind. So like when you have these other units that are creating units on the battlefield, Shield Matrix just gets better.
Number 15, moving out. Processing is halfway done. You've all come so far. I know you can do this.
Because it gives them more survivability. It's super good with like the Guardian Avengers. So yeah, it's a very potent ability. It's very good to have. So now we've got another update on the status of things, and what do you know? We got tons of big guys coming in. So just kind of figuring out how we want to go about doing that. Jamming Rocket Launcher, not a bad call. It'll slow them down. Decreases their durability. Since they're flying units, we obviously don't want to use the anti-ground missiles, because that will just be stupid. Leap attack, that is a bunch of air dudes. Yep, and there we go. I was like, I'm sure I reevaluate that. I absolutely want to get that Apsos in that, though, because that'll disable its ability. So that takes care of that. Multi-lock missile into that wide stream of things is probably not the best idea. So yeah, the Convergent Laser is going to be better because it's armor piercing. I see the Apsos and I go, yes, that, kill that, please. Yeah.
We can do this.
Apsos units, man, they'll ruin your day. Just don't let them do their things. Jamming rocket launcher just to kind of slow them down, neutralize them a little bit. Missile rain. I'm curious which side of the battlefield I focus on here. Interesting. I feel like I would have gone for the north if I replayed that right there. But that's fine. It'll still do good work. Regardless, though, music time. So you can see kind of like how the music is continuing to build up, like it's playing into this like ever increasing stakes that the Sentinel pilots are finding themselves in. poor Hijiyama can't even find a straight path. I feel like that speaks to him on multiple levels. Regardless, continuing to kind of chip away at these larger units, so the Terra Carriers, the high quads that have shown up, the RPF units that have shown up. Because I've had so much setup time and there hasn't really been any threats to a lot of my sentry guns, a lot of them are still hanging around. That was one of the things that started happening to me on hard, is that a lot of my sentry guns actually started to get taken out. Which, don't get me wrong, saves my Sentinel pilots from taking damage. But it definitely nuked that infrastructure. And just watching those guys come in and immediately I just instinctually missile rain. Just go, I don't like you. Machine cannons, not a great choice, but with them having so little health remaining, I get why I did that. All I've got, just because Hijiyama's right there. One of the few times where like EMP surrounding actually would have been better than EMP attractor. I really like the EMP attractor for its range, though. I always felt like that was such a great tool to just reach out and touch someone, you know? Multi-rocket launchers, cleaning up those guys. We've still got some stragglers off on the west side. And then, of course, the big guy on the southern section. But he's pretty much dead. Like, as soon as those missiles connect, he's toast. And then I really... Oh, wow. just as a absolutely not to that Terra Carrier, I go EMP attractor. Because why not? Why not just add insult to injury, you know? Just really shove it in his face. Some more sentry guns. Another wave pops up on the west side and the east side. So we kind of reassess a few things here, I'm sure. Now he's in a good spot for that EMP attractor, though. Because that's going to get the Apsos unit, that's going to get both of those Terra Carriers, that takes down a wide range of those guys. Multi-lock missile here is going to be solid, even if it's not doing bonus damage because the armor, it still chips so much health. And then I just say, what if you had a missile rain for the rest of them, I guess? Oh, good, good, good. Yeah, here we go. Gravity. Uh-huh. So that's going to move them all together. Nice timing with the sentry turrets firing there. And now multi-lock missile is going to do so much more work because now they're closer to the concentrated section. And that's just really good. Since they've been knocked down on the ground, they'll actually take damage from the anti-ground missiles now. Which is a good call. Leg spike. Guarantees the kill here. For a cool 63,000 damage. No biggie. No biggie. Just a little show off there. God, 63,000 damage. I don't even think there's an enemy in this game that has that much health. Maybe like the EX enemies? But probably the high quad EX does. But that's just disgusting amount of damage. Another gravity missile. I start really enjoying that at this point in the battle. Because I'm like, okay, you're starting to have these dudes spread out. What if I just told you no? Interceptors with Amaguchi. Why not? He's done enough shielding for everybody. Some more sentry guns. Oh, smart call. Okay, moving her closer to the battlefield. Minami's been doing some hard work here. Yeah, she can just take another lap. Recover some EP. You know. That lap is never going to finish. There's no way that she actually walks that entire route. She is definitely going to be doing other stuff first. 100% guaranteed. So a rare moment of calm as the game instantly shows me wrong. Some small threats from the north and the west, nothing major. So I pretty much just burned through her EP to refill my interceptor brigades. Another sentry gun. Yeah, smarter call, multi-rocket missile. Or the multi-rocket launcher. Yeah, that even took care of the tier 2 enemies. Yeah, a little bit more sentry gun backup from Kurabe instead. He is the worst option for that, but it's okay. Oh, that'll definitely take care of those guys. Because it helps save energy for Fusaka. So we got a new wave, Apsos units, some flying units. We've still got some remnants off on the west quadrant, and then there's waves coming in. Yeah, already replenishing the next round. And that's kind of what you have to deal with. Yeah, I get greedy there. That ground hunter missile is literally for that Apsos unit. 23,000 damage. Yeah. Cleaning up with the pulse laser? Yeah, okay. Saves energy. I get it. It's just, they don't stop. Like, even when you're like, cool, I've cleared the board, instantly the next ones come in. It's just one after the next, after the next, after the next. They just keep coming. And that's fine, because that's really, like, at this stage of the storyline, what should be happening, because this is the final terminal that they need to protect. And this is the last one that the Deimos forces can gain access to that terminal. So, of course, they're going to throw everything they got at it. Because they can't do anything at the others, so who cares about those?
What now?
Just moving in, some more shield matrices, because I like proving myself wrong. 3 Sentinel pilots, not bad. Half the team getting some shielding there. We got a beefy RPF target. So we get in some solid damage, 11,000 damage just from pulse laser. That's really good. Do I missile rain here? Is that what I do? Why not? Like I said, we use it a lot here. We believe firmly in missile rain in this household. more sentry guns because they're just good. And a Fuyusaka branded sentry gun, even better.
Okay. What next?
And moving back to Hijiyama, he's getting ready for the next wave coming in. Replenish the interceptors. So we've handled the problems from the western quadrant. So that missile rain was really superfluous. But it made me feel good. You know, sometimes you just gotta do things for yourself.
Stay calm. I can do this. I guess life comes
Not sure what we got going on here, but I'm sure we'll figure that out. Take a lap. Oh, interesting. Choosing to have Yakushiji defend there is fascinating to me in hindsight, because I really feel like I should have just had her move somewhere. Getting more of these sentry guns out. It's good. We got a lot of things that just popped in, and a lot of things that just died instantly. Like, that's the beauty of having so many sentry guns. Yeah, he's toast. Big guy already down. Multi-lock missile? Okay, I guess. Yeah, that's really just to close the distance. Like, there's times where multi-lock missile is just clearing a space around you as you arrive somewhere. Okay. Jammer rocket launcher, solid call. Reduces the durability of the units there. I guess cleanup? Yeah, it takes care of some of the smaller units here. There's still a handful of them.
Life support final processing at 75%.
We're in the final stretch. Please don't give up. Protect us.
Unbelievable. I'm acting like an amateur.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is the part of the song that just kicks total ass. I remember my first time playing through, like when that part of the track really kicks in, I was just like, oh, this is for realsies. Like we're in the end game now, kind of moment here. And you can see they really are starting to kind of up the ante at this point, because they just continue to throw large units incessantly at you. But the beauty of my team, because of just how dummy, stupid, strong they are, is that it won't matter. I am fairly certain I don't take a single hit from enemies this entire time. Just continuing to blitz through them and just guns blazing, man. At this point in time, you really just use any tool you have. Like, if you're playing on the harder difficulty levels, this is the point where if you haven't been using your meta skills, just blow through them. Because you're gonna feel the impact of these waves substantially more as they just pop in and continue to add to your problems. I know this was the point in time where, especially on hard, where I actually did need to take breathers every now and then and just be like, okay, we're just gonna paralyze everybody, we're gonna knock everything down, kill some of the weaker things. Just give me a moment to situate myself. Shield Matrix was proven to be quite useful. I don't think I use it at all this time, but the whole reason that Fuyusaka even has Repair Emitter is because of my playthrough on hard. Oh, it's these guys. Yeah, this is when the gladiators show up as well. They're annoying. Yeah, 0 damage because, remember, they don't take damage from weak attacks. So interceptors are useless against them, as I learned on my first playthrough, because I wasn't paying attention. The jammer missiles are still good because they'll still lower their mobility, and they'll also reduce their durability, which I found to be quite good. It doesn't change their neutralization for weak attacks, but it does mean that the other attacks actually do hit substantially harder. I was gonna say, if I send out interceptors right now, I'm gonna be real mad at myself. I think this is me going, yeah, shield matrix, why not? I'll wait. Sentry turrets are solid against them though, because they do enough damage to punch through. Yakushiji still defending. Remember when I had her defend? Remember those fun times? Yeah, that's literally what happened here. Are we gonna move in? Like, guys, we gotta move in. Yep. Alright, Yakushiji's back. Yeah, that's the good call, though. Gravity missile will be quite useful here. There's one of them down. Oof. She has, like, nothing useful against those guys. I will excuse her putting up the interceptors. Yeah, jammer. Might as well slow it down. Gotta do something. So that takes care of those guys. So any second now, we'll have more dudes coming in to just ruin our day. I think I'm just kind of getting situated, moving my pieces on the board, making sure I've got coverage pretty much just everywhere. Also with the interceptors, kind of rebuilding those so that I've got them back, just in case. And here comes the next waves. Like clockwork. And now we've reached the maximum number of sentry guns. Good thing I wasted the last one on a Karabe sentry gun, because man, wouldn't that have sucked? Yeah. I'm not perfect at the game. Not by a mile. But I do recognize my errors when I make them.
Emergency escape preparations complete. Universal control suspended. Interlocutor link disconnected.
What happened? I don't see anything. Where is everyone?
Right here.
I can't tell what's going on outside. How about you?
Same here. My Sentinel's not responding.
I can't even get out of mine. Still stuck in this damn cockpit. Relax, everyone.
Tsukasa Okino? You're alive?
And not just me. Tamao-san's safe too, even if she's still out cold.
Tamao-san's alright? Really?
I know you've all been assuming these are the Sentinel cockpits, but they're not. They've always been something else entirely.
Then, where are we?
If my communications are reaching you, that means you're now outside Universal Control.
You're saying we're out of that virtual city space? Does that mean this is the real world? Real world? What are you talking about? The 5 sectors you know? They're artificial worlds. We've been living in a virtual reality. That wasn't real. We were born within the simulation. We spent our whole lives in a waking dream. And now, we're finally awake. We're back in reality.
Wait, Jiro-kun. Aren't we supposed to be on a different planet now? That was like the whole point of interstellar development, wasn't it?
Minami's right. This is a whole different planet. And I think we're in one of the 5 sectors. Almost, Tamiguchi-kun. This isn't Earth. But I don't think it's a residential district at ground level. I think it's a pod facility, where we've all been sleeping. So, does that mean everything up until now was just one big illusion?
Even if that's true, what we lived was real. What we felt was real. This was Fluffy's plan all along. Or, well, Jiro Izumi's plan. The one he brought from the ruined world. It was your only chance. No other escape plan had any possibility of survival. By reconnecting the terminal link, the mainframe detects abnormal conditions. It then initiates the emergency escape procedure. That's what he found out.
So that was 426's plan.
But there was one more issue that prevented escape. Namely, your bodies. You weren't ready to live outside of the pods.
What? Is that what this cockpit was for?
You couldn't survive outside that environment. Your bodies needed conditioning to sustain your lives unaided. It was a very long process. We had to give you all the preparation time you needed.
So, are we done cooking in here? Can we get out yet?
Yes. The growth process has finally come to an end. So what happens to everyone else back in the city? I knew you would ask me about that. It's part of why I didn't explain the details sooner, but they are not human. They only exist within the simulation. All 1.2 million people. Everyone who lived in those sectors. They were all AI. Created and managed by Universal Control. That's not going to be easy to accept. If it's any comfort to you, the professor saved all their data. They haven't been erased. They all still exist. Please, no more secrets. What was this whole interstellar development project for? Was all this stuff with the kaiju part of the plan? Testing us? Actually, it might have been because of the old me. The Ryoko Shinonome of 2188 tried to sabotage the plan. Maybe that's why the Deimos appeared.
She wanted to stop it.
She was sick of humanity. Sick of the despair.
I saw the logs from those who were there in the final days. And the end was truly horrific.
So what can we expect from this new planet? I think we're due some basic information if we're going to live here.
It is approximately 1,200 light years from Earth, in the direction of the Virgo constellation. The planet is RS-13 Alpha. It has 2 moons. The time elapsed since departing the solar system is...
Okay, that's good for now. Any more of this crap in my head's gonna explode.
If you say so. In any case, this will be your new Earth. The satellite's about to enter the atmosphere. In a couple moments, you'll lose your connection to the command ship. But before that, please allow me to offer a word of apology. I believed this plan would be impossible. After all, some of you had never even piloted a Sentinel before. I thought I would just throw everything into the plan. That way I could at least end this with no regrets. But, against all odds, you pulled it off. No matter how far technology may come, it's humanity who always seems to make miracles come true. You've done well, children of mankind. Once you're out of your pods, I can't talk to you anymore. But I'll always be watching over you from my place in the sky. Don't ever forget that.
If you're watching this footage, that means Project Ark was a success. You have left Earth behind. But you are now on a planet terraformed to be a second Earth. Probes were scattered into space in search of viable planets. I can't say how far your planet is from Earth, but even the closest candidate planet is 12 light years away. It may have been tens of thousands of years. No, it's likely an even more astronomical amount of time has passed. Unfortunately, by the time you watch this, humanity will have gone extinct. In the end, we couldn't save Earth from ruin. But you are our reincarnations, our successors. And you stand on an uncharted world full of new hope. Having reached 18 years of age, you'll now undergo a 2-year program of special training. This will give you some vital knowledge for daily life and future development. Once you're finished with that program, you can finally take your first steps into your new homeland. Hello, everyone. I am Tamal Karabe. My specialty is AI, and that's what I'll be providing in this program. As I've been asked, I'll provide what explanation I can. We're transporting a massive cache of genetic information to the new world. There will be cloning and species restoration efforts for all kinds of flora and fauna, including humans. The 15 of you, however, will be direct descendants, generated from those who survived this ordeal. Together, you will rebuild the human race anew. However, while the flora and fauna can mostly be left to their own devices, we cannot say the same of you remaining humans. After all, what makes us human is the succession and evolution of our culture and knowledge. These you will inherit from us and cultivate. While you grow and gestate within your life pods, you will be dreaming and learning about life on Earth. Until at last, you reach 20 years of age. We may never know for sure if this will succeed, but if it does work, that would truly be a dream come true. If you are out there somewhere, if you can hear me, please, keep weaving the tapestry. Keep the history of humanity alive.
Those videos just now. So those were meant to play if everything went according to plan. I guess the idea was for us to step outside at 20 years old. It's so dark. Where is everyone?
Here. Stand up slowly. Your eyes will get used to the light outside in no time.
Yakushiji.
You're the last one awake, Jiro. Everyone's already outside. Come on. What's the matter? You look so surprised.
Just thinking. This must be the real you, Yakushiji.
Do I seem that different?
Now I can feel you next to me. I can feel your heart beating.
We can finally touch each other. With real hands. Real skin. So, it's all over. What do we do now?
Let's go join the others. This plan was meant to save the human race. We already know what we're going to do now. We're going to live.
Reboot complete. Universal control appears to be operating normally.
Things seem fine here as well. The terminal connected without any issues.
Sector 4 has come back online.
I knew you could do it, Ida-kun. After all that, I'm glad I gave you full control.
Tomi, I have to know. I assumed you'd hate me after everything. That you'd think me a monster.
I was alone after I shifted to the command ship, but in my darkest hour. Do you know whose ID I relied on?
Shu Amiguchi's.
Because, no matter what form he takes, there's one man I've always counted on. It's you, Ida-kun. It's always been you. Don't you know that by now?
All I ever wanted was to be with you. If it's possible, I'd like to join you. Wherever you are.
You'd come here? That would be great. But maybe it should wait until after all the sectors are back.
Is that all? I'll have it done in a heartbeat. You doubt me?
No. No doubts at all, Ida-kun. The man I fell in love with can do anything. The command ship is about to cross the horizon. It'll be goodbye. At least for another 14 hours.
Yes. But until we're cut off, could I hear you sing again?
Okay. Look at that. Never thought I'd be back here. You really never cease to amaze me. So, how's life on the outside?
It's been 5 years since we exited the simulation. We now have 2 bases established above ground. Somehow, we've achieved some measure of stability.
The facilities are now operational. We're learning all kinds of new technologies.
Ryoko and I have a new project. We're looking into using the pods to recreate the people of this city.
We found research notes from Ryoko Shinonome, the genetic engineer. Now we know enough to manipulate genetic information. It's definitely possible. Don't you agree?
Sounds familiar. From before the plan, right? I suppose she was working on something like that. So you want to use the pods to make AI into true humans?
I don't know when we'll be ready, but even if it takes years, we want them to see the second Earth. We'd welcome them.
Well then, sounds like you're doing just fine. I guess I won't need to step in and lead you after all.
I've heard a lot about you, Professor. Could we ask you to review our research?
Well, I suppose you did win the bet. Fine. I can manage a peer review.
Thank you, Professor Morimura.
Is he back here too?
Yes. Miura is also here.
Then I'm going to have to visit him. We're family, after all.
Please, wait. Allow us to accompany you. Let's go, Ryoko.
Yeah. Natsuno-chan, and she was a crying mess too.
I'm just really glad to see you, Miwako.
What do you mean?
I really, really missed you.
You're acting so strange, Usami-chan.
Hey, Miwa-chan, let's go out to eat. Any of your favorite places. Yeah, our treat.
What? What's going on? Oh, Neji-kun.
Hey, Miwako. Long time no see. Whoa! Usami.
What?
This is how you used to look?
Why? Falling for me all over again?
Jeez, I forgot you used to be so... flat. Man, am I lucky you filled out.
You're such an ass. You know, I didn't forget you calling me Dogface. Screw you, Captain Pompadour. Anyhow, I'm not coming home tonight, so you better finish up and go. You're watching the kids.
Kids? Whoa. Let's step over here, Miwa-chan. What was that about?
Nothing.
Usami-chan, come on.
Sorry. Where did A go?
You know, he's never been great with this stuff.
Antisocial as always, huh?
He said he was gonna hang back and monitor everyone's pods.
Oh well.
Are you two saying you both have boyfriends now?
What? No! Of course not. Don't worry about all that, okay? Today's just for us girls.
What do you feel like eating?
Well, there you go. All's well that ends well.
I mean, duh, man. I was inside your nano machines. Of course I'd be here. That's how I came out of the pod with you, too.
We'd never have come so far without you, Izumi-san. After all you did to get the new facilities up and running.
Hey, come on, man. Remember, I'm Kyuta Shiba here.
Got it. Shiba-kun.
Man, look at this, Juro. Everything's back how it used to be.
Still, there are definitely gonna be some inconsistencies. We basically forced a reset to right before the disaster.
You worry too much, Juro. Inconsistencies aren't a big deal. Universal Control can handle that stuff.
I guess so.
My data's all in this place now anyway. So you're gonna be on your own from now on.
I know.
Oh yeah, almost forgot. The one I got today is gonna blow your mind. What do you say? Movie night?
course.
Churro.
Megami.
Wow. I guess I didn't realize how rugged you'd become in these last 5 years. You're so cute back here.
But you? You're as gorgeous as you always were.
Frickin' gross. Is that why you two came back here? To slobber all over each other? Barf. Cooing over each other like brain-dead lovebirds.
Izumi-san!
Ugh, this is so boring.
Please, do you really have to act like that now?
Ah, fine. Guess I'm just the third wheel here anyway.
Shiba-kun, you should come over to our house later.
I'll have a feast ready.
You know I love that cat food.
You'd better show up tonight.
Oh, Kitaro. Hey, Nenji. I certainly remember that hairstyle. Best one there is. You waiting for Natsuno? Yes, we're supposed to meet up here. Yeah, I can see it. Gonna be wrapped around her little finger for life.
Whoa! Ogata! Been waiting for you.
Wajima.
Put him up, asshole. We're gonna settle this beef once and for all.
Wait a minute. Really? You've been waiting all this time? For me?
Yeah.
God damn it. This is the most beautiful shit I ever heard.
What the hell's your problem?
Wajima, dude. God, it's good to see you too, man.
I'm gonna punch your lights out.
Yeah, do it. Give me your best shot. Anything you want, man.
Hey, boss. I think he's crying. Ogata. You okay, man? You didn't eat something bad, did you?
Sorry to keep you, Keitaro-kun.
Natsuno-san,
I just had to stop by the lockers.
your eyes are red. Were you crying?
Well, yeah, 'cause I finally got to see him again.
Hey,
He was restored? With everything he had before the erasure?
It's BJ, all right. And he's got all his data. The same data that we're still using today. He's always been saving us.
We've only been able to return here thanks to you. We owe you so much.
I love you are the incredible ones.
Mira, how would you like to enter my nanomachines and go to the outside world?
You'd take me?
Yeah, BJ. I've got room for you in my nanomachines, too.
Maybe. Let me think about it.
Well, for now, should we get going?
So, where are you taking me today?
I'm taking you home. It's about time you met my parents. They've got to meet my future husband.
What? Right now?
Not-chan!
Yuki-chan, did you just get here?
Konatsu was so fussy today. Took forever to get into the pod.
'Cause Konatsu loves Mommy so much.
She looks just like you, you know? Spitting image of you when we were kids. When I look at her, sometimes I feel like she's as much your kid as mine.
Well, I don't know if I had any hand in it.
Anyway, I heard the news. Finally getting hitched, huh? Gotta say, Keitaro needs to unclench a little.
I'm just trying to take this seriously. This is a chance to take responsibility.
You definitely take it more seriously than somebody I know. Okay, so, when's the big day?
Well, for today, I'm just taking him to see my folks.
Wow, meeting the in-laws? Man, now that takes me back. I wonder how your mom's doing. Let's go see her.
What about you, Kun?
What about that sleazebag?
Yuki. Here you are.
Tamiguchi-kun.
Oh, come on. We came out all this way and you're still mad? Nothing even happened.
Did you seriously hit on Shinonome-san?
After all this shit about always being on the ladies' side, too.
No, it was just some leftover crap from Tetsuya Iida's memories.
I don't want to hear it. Konatsu's all I need.
Yeah, you're right. I've been a real idiot. Now I've got a wife and daughter I'd give anything to see happy. I'd never find anyone better than you anyway. Not in this time, or any other.
Look, you can't smooth talk me. You don't get off that easy.
You know, I've been wanting to show you my place here.
Well, too bad. I'm going to Nachon's place. Let's go.
Give me a call later. I'll come pick you up on the bike.
Go on, Yuki-chan. You should spend some time with him.
Fine. If you really think so, Nachon. I'll give him a call. Maybe.
This is it, Tamao-san. See? It's been 40 years, but it's still the place we know.
Yes. This certainly brings back memories.
Sector 5 is almost restored too. When it's ready, we should take Keitaro back on a visit home. Just the three of us.
It makes me think, if we really came this far in just 40 years, then we can rebuild our future out there too.
Hijiyama-kun! So this is why you left me behind? Sneaking off for a date? You must think you're a real playboy now.
Finally here, Okino? As usual, you're...
Oh my! How adorable! You're back in the Kiriko-chan dress.
What's the matter, Hijiyama-kun?
A dress isn't enough to get a rise out of me anymore. It's been 5 whole years, you know? I've come a long way.
You still don't get it? Come on, think about it. This is a virtual world. It's not just the clothes. I can be whatever I want here.
What? Wait, you don't mean...
Hey, check if you want.
What? You can't just tell me to...
What? Now, of all times, you lose that confidence?
You absolute cad! You know that's not the issue here. Ugh, what am I supposed to do?
My, Takatoshi-san. You really do like Okino-kun, don't you?
I don't know about that.
Well, this is a Takatoshi-san I'm not used to. A bit more dramatic these days, isn't he? Who might this be?
2 Tamao-sans?
Yeah, this is number 18.
So, she's the Tamao-san from the loop before us.
Her mind is housed inside this android. It's not like she's a stranger, so I brought her back too.
How do you do? So you're the other me. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Well, anyhow, no point just standing around here. Let's go outside. You seriously brought her here? This gross, shady old shack? I knew you were a lost cause when it comes to dates, but this is just sad. Or were you gonna jump her?
You really are positively shameless, aren't you?
Ah, well, I suppose I'd better step in. Here, if you want to know where couples go, I'll show you around. Number 18, Tamao-san's all yours.
We'll be just fine.
Wait a minute, what's all this about couples?
Come on, let's go.
Why should I listen to you?
Stop being such a baby already.
I still don't quite understand. I don't know what it was like for all of you, or maybe I just want to know what really came of all our efforts. Then let's talk. It'd be my pleasure to explain. It took an incredible amount of time, but what they achieved truly was a miracle.
Sorry to keep you waiting. What's up, Ms. Morimura?
So, what is this about? I hope you have an explanation, Juro.
It's about a promise. I told you I'd rescue you. You still remember?
Yes. I remember.
I know it took a while, but I was hoping we could have a fresh start.
A fresh start?
Yeah. Didn't we make another promise? We said once the dust finally cleared, we'd talk, right?
I remember that too.
There was one more thing. You probably don't remember this one, so I'll just say it again. I love you.
That I don't remember. But I remember being in love with you. I'd never forget that.
I repeat, we interrupt this program to bring you an important emergency broadcast. A large unidentified object has crash-landed in the city. It is headed north toward Kasumicho, destroying everything in its path. A state of emergency has been declared in Ashitaba City. The neighboring 3 wards are advised to evacuate immediately.
You gotta be kidding. A kaiju?
Minami, we gotta run.
What's happening to this place?
So, here we are at the end of the journey with 13 Sentinels. I love this game. It was one of those things where, like, I've played a lot of Vanillaware's other games, and like Odin Sphere, for instance, is probably one of my all-time favorite games. And I was super glad when they did the remake and brought it over to PlayStation 4. And I remember when 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim was first announced, and I was like, wow, this looks awesome. Like they're doing a more modern setting, like they're having this like mystery of this apocalypse and like this, you know, tug between like destiny, choice, all these like really cool science fiction like tropes and just like modern fiction takes on things. The wide range of different types of characters that they had and the way they kind of play into those and kind of turn those expectations on their head from time to time. I just was totally bought in right from the beginning. And so for me, like this was a game that I just was super passionate about. And it's one of those circumstances where like most people probably have no clue about this game. And so I remember playing through it and going, man, I just really want to talk about how much I absolutely adore this game. And so it's really what drove the impetus for me to finally start this whole channel. And so I owe a lot to it. Kind of going through and rewatching a lot of those moments again. Definitely has better moments for the writing and character dialogue and such. But a lot of it I still feel like is just really solid. It's an incredible game. Great character development. Great voice work for the most part. Some really just, standout moments in the game, like one that still to this day I find to be one of the best little bits of monologue is Juro in the form of Fluffy at the end of Yakushiji's tale, how he talks about her, and that still really I feel like is a very powerful moment in the story. It's definitely one of the moments where I was just like 100% sold on the game. There's a lot of moments like that, though. I feel like every character's remembrance portion has like that one scene that just sticks with you, even later on when you're kind of done with the game. And I think that's one of the things that speaks to its strengths, is that it was able to, in my opinion, successfully tell these tales for the 13 Sentinel pilots. In terms of the destruction sequences, sure, they're not the most, how shall I put it, tactically challenging game pieces kind of on the planet. Like, you're definitely going to be able to find things that might be a little bit more challenging or more diverse options, but I really enjoyed it. It was fun to just kind of pump the numbers up and see big numbers, like the hit earlier with the leg spike from Amaguchi for like nearly 70,000 damage is just something that still cracks me up even right now. I'd love to be able to get to like 6-digit damage or see if the cap is quintuple 9. It'd be fascinating to find that out. But regardless, it's just this game has so many fantastic moments to it, and I love how they end it with just everything wrapping up really well for the characters, them being able to have this new world and this new opportunity to kind of build a new branch of humanity and to learn from these trials and these mistakes of the distant past, i.e. our future, and just seeing how there's another chance for a lot of these characters. And it's really a heartwarming tale at the end. It's a tale of hope. It's entertaining because I remember specifically seeing that extra video at the end, and so I was like, oh, I gotta showcase that. So even though like we've beaten the story, it's cool to see how they take that science fiction aspect of it and be like, hey, remember how we talked about how these probes will just keep going? They do. And it's like millions of parsecs away from the planet that becomes this new Earth. This story is being told again, but a little differently. So that's really neat how there's just like the piece says, infinite possibilities. There's these infinite worlds being made based off of these 13 Sentinel pilots and kind of the fate and destiny of them. To kind of always have these struggles, these battles that they're going to be fighting towards the hope of a new future, a better future for humanity. And that's really, I think, a powerful message there. Really great game. I really enjoyed it. I hope you all did. Of course, I have other game series that I'm playing through, that I'm showcasing. I am, admittedly, fairly lazy. So some of that content might take a little while to get out to you. But I do have a number of different games that I'm either actively playing through or going to be playing through. Very exciting stuff kind of around the corner. As always, it might not necessarily be the most popular stuff out there right now. I might be focusing on some games that people might not recognize or may have forgotten, like 13 Sentinels, things that I'm passionate about that I want to share with you all out there. So I hope you've enjoyed our journey through 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. It's definitely had its ups and downs. certainly some challenges on my side. I hope to continue to improve and look back upon this with very heavy degrees of cringe in the future, but I hope you all have enjoyed this trip. So thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and as always, until next time, take it easy.
So we made it through.